What's calls me order to work section. There are a couple of presentations to present to the council this evening. One is an executive session, the other public.
One item on this agenda. I don't want to jam anything in, I don't want to rush anything, but also want to give ample time to address any concerns of any items on the agenda that we can review. Give 15 minutes for the parks update or the parks presentation associated to an item on this agenda, as well as going to executive session for an update. So any objection to that or concerns about that, we can navigate. Also, part of the using part of the regular meeting to discuss items on the floor is not problematic. It's part of the mechanism for discussion for any items. So does anybody have any questions about the reports provided to council?
I have some things that I would like to discuss, but if we're gonna do presentation in executive session, I can.
And I,
Questions?
yeah.
And I believe that we got your questions ahead of time and we presented them to.
Yeah.
Building
No,
inspector.
I didn't, I just asked and you feel like it was really, the question.
Joe is out, but Kyle's here to present. And the council is, if you also have questions, we'll deal with these questions now. And then address any other questions within the first 15 minutes of this work session. Talk about the parks and then get over to the work.
The Bakery Buildings report. Can you, this might be a second, you might have already done this, but can you define what enforcement action is, what that is?
Well, there are many, of course, questions. There's the primary, there's a notice, there's a notice violation, there's a order remedy. I'm not sure where each of these properties are at, but there are some that say that we should file a notice. So that means that legal action is next. Issue a ticket or issue a ticket.
Is this been? Has this been a positive way to go with this? I mean, has this been, we gotten any feedback or we gotten any positive? Is it
We
working?
never did.
Is it working?
Building inspector.
It's property that I chose, right?
Yeah.
So. It's slow moving, it's brand new, so it's a new process for us. But whether or not it's working, they are paying attention to the buildings.
Yeah.
Starting to, there are people that have put a building for sale, there's people that are, you have it on the side. I think it's lit a fire under some people, so not entirely sure. Exactly what we wanted, but I think they.
I've gotten positive feedback, Julie, from constituents that I've spoken to. They like the idea.
Well, what I'm asked, obviously, I'm asking all of this is because, I mean, we've got all of these properties just sitting there that are vacant. And I understand that it's difficult to enforce up to a degree before we do have to seek, legal action. But, I mean, Plattsburgh, like everywhere else, we need places, we need apartments, we need houses to rent, et cetera, et cetera. And these places are just sitting there.
But that's. the whole
And-
place about-
Yeah, right, that's
So I
why.
think, like I said, I think the people are, there's a good portion of them.
I guess my next question is, how long can they remain on the registered list if they are not deemed able to live in, but are just sitting there?
I really don't want to answer that question. I'm not sure. It's still, if we bring it one apartment aside, I really think, I don't have an answer.
Okay, all right. And I know you have the proactive patrol reports. for like if there's garbage or couches or something, it says here, sent to DPW. I need this clarified, because to me, it's like, okay, we sent it to DPW, so does that mean DPW, okay, we give up, DPW is gonna come and pick it up?
Oh, they pick it up and they charge the property.
Oh, that's my, okay, all right, that was my, and, how many notices do we post on them before?
Everything that's on the proactive. Is or should be followed.
Okay. That's all I've got. These are all things.
I have some questions about the vacant building report as well. So on the report breaks it down by vacant building. I think there's another section of I don't have the report in front of me, another section of the report that is, you're not sure if it's entirely vacant, and then there's another section of, not, oh, you, so good.
I have.
Yeah, vacant property still under review, and then renovation or demo completed. So my first question is about 12/20/26 J Street. Is that the old
Oh,
Lakeside
yes.
container building?
It's-
Okay,
Yes.
so the comment there about, actually is a question on the document, do we want to offer them an extension with commitment to develop the land? Do you have anything else to add to that or explain?
Yeah, the only thing that, well, I think that we discussed with is they do use those properties still for storage, not necessarily only for. The secondary storage, they do use them for storage.
Like personal storage? Is
Yeah,
that what you
so
mean?
it's kind of a. Ambiguous, kind of term in use, so they're not always there, they're not there very often, but are they technically using it? Not sure why it was worded like that about the development features, we had talked about that, that's been part of our rezoning,
Mhm.
our discussion. And they did have. Had some interest in redevelopment it, but I'm not exactly sure why it was.
Because there are a couple on there that say, that the owner is there intermittently.
Yes.
Well, okay,
Well, I did say.
you can't get around that, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, it's kind of ambiguous, use. We can. We can look at it. I'm not exactly sure where Jim stood with it. This is the way it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can catch it back.
And specific to that property, I too had a conversation with the owners who showed great interest in redevelopment. We're a little bit concerned about the constraints of the current zoning code. But they are willing participants in making sure that that building gets some valued use. Apartments, mixed use, things like those are the types of things that they've spoken about.
My other question is, falls under the properties that are still under review. And it says, I'm looking at 24 Riverside Avenue, 18 Lorraine Street, 72 Waterhouse Street. And I just had further questions on those particular properties because of the way that they're described here. Unable thus far to find an entity to hold responsible, or in the case of 72 Waterhouse property, not fit to be re-inhabited, pursuing with property maintenance. So I wondered if you could provide more information on those, if you can. So, when it says unable to find any entity to hold responsible, how does that happen exactly?
If someone passes away, there's no estate. We have more than a few of those properties.
Okay,
There's no estate, there's no one stepping up to,
claim the property.
claim the property.
Okay.
I'm sure you know a little bit more. It's not, it's hard to find. If you can't find the Mexican, you can't find, there's no estate, it's kind of a little, kind of like a monastery property that was just was on. Couldn't find anyone and.
So what about the 72 Waterhouse property? Where it sounds like it might not even be inhabitable. Is that an abandoned property completely?
It is vacant. I'm not sure about the property taxes, but Richard, you know about that shit. So I'm not sure. Whether they have-
Thanks, Julie.
Is that okay? I'm not sure.
In part, Kyle and council, I sent out, probably a couple times now, a memo regarding housing strategy in the city, based significantly on, what we're seeing throughout the state. One is, the implementation of a short-term rental program, which we've done. Another one is the implementation of the vacant property permit or vacant property law, which is what we've done. There's other mechanisms, New York State real property law 19A and 19B allows the city to declare a property abandoned. Meaning, situations like this where we cannot contact anybody regarding the property.
We can't contact anyone?
In situations like this, when we're trying to reach out to a property owner and there's no person to contact or no entity to contact that we can hold accountable. There is a mechanism for the city to declare a property abandoned, take title to that property, and then as surplus, sell it or rehab it or demo it.
Oh, okay.
and
All right,
some
all
whatever that is, right? So that could be the kind of the next step in this process of declaring properties vacant. Next step is maybe potentially going back and declaring them abandoned under that real property law mechanism, and then collecting that property through that mechanism as surplus property for the city, and then selling it or auctioning it or whatever that is. Again, to get that property back into the housing mix by any means necessary, really, at this point. But that would be the next mechanism for us to explore specifically for properties like this. And again, that was also included in that memo that I provided.
One last question. If the house is registered but it's slated to be demolished, how long do they have, do you know, to go from having it registered to demolishing it?
I don't have a.
No, okay, not a
It
problem.
might be in the law.
Some of these things, I just think there should be timeframes. Sorry, I just think there should be.
Well, just to comment, this is not the majority of the places. The majority of the places they're paying taxes, the building's sitting there, no one's in it. I would say that's the ones that I see, somebody owns them, they're paying taxes on them, but they're vacant. There hasn't been anybody living in them 8 years, 10 years. Those are the properties that we really need to get back on the tax rolls that are not the tax rolls, but get back in the housing mix.
Yes.
That
Agreed.
very little can be done about that.
If I could add also, this is one of the reasons why we're also going through the zoning update. We're looking at underutilized properties, which we have highlighted in a lot of the public workshops. And looking for mechanisms, barriers for why those properties weren't better utilized. And not being kept up, and then kind of work and readjust the zoning to remove some of those barriers, ensuring that it's still within the public's interest. So we're, this is a 360 approach. The mechanisms that the mayor added and this mechanism to try and incentivize people to take better care of their properties.
Yeah, that's an uphill climb because some of these places are shrines, their great aunt Lily lived there and they're not gonna do anything with the house and it sits. I don't think zoning would help those cases, but
We might not be able to get every single one, but we're trying to get more of them on board. In the middle of the habits.
thank you for,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an uphill climb, like I said.
Is there time to ask more questions or do we, because I can see it's 10:05 now.
Is it 10?
I mean, I can ask questions during new business for the fire department and police.
If you have questions, take some time now to ask those questions if we need to have more time after the fact, or if they need to be responded to digitally, we can do that as well.
Okay. My first concern for both police department and fire department is the overtime. Either or, I see Chief Mitchell isn't here. In particular, I see the the police department. You have 30% of your budgeted overtime left. And I have a question, but I'm not sure if you can answer it.
Try to do the best I can.
Okay. Are you lieutenant? Is that your?
Yes, I am,
lieutenant?
Joel
Okay.
Lieutenant, Joel Pond.
I would really like to see what is impacting the overtime because it's July and you're gonna run out of overtime rapidly, based on the data that's been shared with us. And I did ask Chief Mitchell for this, earlier in the year, an overtime strategy. And I don't know if you can answer the question, which is what is driving the overtime?
So some of the biggest expenditures we recently had were obviously the Fourth of July event, Mayor's Cup. We've also had a number of staff shortages, so in order to fill those staff shortages, we have mandatory overtime. And we currently have a structure of minimum staffing for our patrol entities. That is, to go any less would be a disservice to the city essentially. I can go into the exact numbers behind closed session if anyone would like, but in regards to that. So we're filling our staff shortages, we're supplementing them with overtime at this point, so we're.
That's wearing on your officers, obviously, especially when it becomes mandatory. But how many officers short are you? That isn't creating such an impact.
So we currently have 7 in the police academy but we're unable to utilize them for any staff coverage at this point, so essentially, we're waiting for that conclusion to supplement our staff.
And when will the academy conclude?
I believe it'll be August, but then they have also enter into this atypical 4-month FTO period. It depends on the officer and how receptive they are to the training, and if they are ready to be published at that point, then at that point they are considered full staff members that we can utilize. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, I think it explains why, but I don't recall us as a city. Utilizing this much overtime at this point in the year. So I wondered if there was something anomalous about what's happening that we only have 30% of the overtime budget left for the rest of the year. This isn't the first time we've run short staff. So I'm wondering if there is anything else contributing to it, or is it simply that?
I haven't dived into like historic number of in regards to complaint volume. It looks like we have the same typical complaint volume that we normally do, with fewer people that handle those complaints. What we're running into now with like more modern complaints, we get more fraud complaints, which require many more man hours because they're intricate usually. And requires multiple subpoenas and investigative techniques to try to find a solution or find the suspects of these crimes and hold them accountable. And we get inundated with a very high frequency of fraud cases.
Fraud.
Fraud cases, yes. I'm sure everyone in this room is probably familiar with some fraud and scam.
Is that an acronym?
I don't know,
Fraud.
fraud, like,
You've committed an act of fraud.
Oh, fraud. I said
Yeah, fraud.
frog.
That's what I thought. I heard two. I went, "Oh."
But he is just.
Jennifer and I heard the same thing. Okay, so if it is possible to generate some more information for us as council to look at historic data in comparison to where we are now, and I would like to see some kind of plan. And a drill down on what is causing it.
so we should have a decline at this point, since all major events we've passed most of our major events for overtime usage. We do have some scheduled vacation, we do deal with a higher volume of scheduled vacation during the summer months as well. But that should also be on a down or a decline until we hit fall session
where we do have a little bit of an incline in overtime usage due to the return of SUNY College.
Mhm.
We do staff additional officers in the college area for those activities.
My other question, it could be answered by both of you. I looked at the report of the amount of needles that have been collected, and there seem to be particular areas that are, where the most needles are found. And I don't know if that's something that you're following as a police department, if you're working actively with the fire department and other agencies. And I realize this is probably not something you can answer right now, but I'll just pose the question. Bushy Boulevard, Skyway, Broad Street, Kennedy Bridge, Broad Street, Smithweed Bridge, and Cumberland seem to be the places where the most needles are found. There's something else I asked Chief Mitchell last year, actually, before he was fully promoted, is some kind of opioid strategy that I think needs to encompass fire department and other agencies. Because if there are specific centers that tend to be the hotspots of where needles are found, I wondered, is there a plan in place to look at that data and information and come up with some strategies to mitigate that?
Right, and I'm familiar with that. So I've been pushing my patrol officers to do more patrols in those specific areas. Some of them are private property, but we do patrol through the area at night very frequently, especially in those areas. So we do get illicit drug use activity in those areas, so we tend to have more presence there. Also, we've been working with Alliance Positive Health for getting more hypodermic collection boxes and strategic placement of those. Some of those locations that we do have frequent deposits of hypodermic needles. There's deposit bins not far from those locations. And they're just not being utilized for whatever reason.
Those are the pressing questions I had. I had some other similar question for the fire department about overtime, and then if there's time, I followed the story about the new OSHA standards and wondered, is there going to be any impact for our department here? But you don't have to answer that right now if we don't have time. If that's something that could be summarized in a report and sent to council.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
No, I
Counselor. Okay, great. So let's, it's important. Obviously, it's important. So, but let's maybe suss that out a little bit more and send message back, and then we can have a dialogue either next time, or you'll come back for the next meeting. Provide additional reports for next meeting. We'll have a conversation over email with additional details in your report.
Especially because we'll be coming up on budget season, and if this is going to be impacting purchases and so forth, I'd like to have the message on that.
Yes. Thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to Courtney.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thanks, Counselor, for your questions. Turn the floor over to Courtney. We have another 35 minutes to review this presentation, as well as go into executive session. So thank you for your patience and understanding that we're under a bit of a time constraint.
I'll be
a little
quick,
bit.
because
All right.
I'd like to give the
Awesome.
floor over to Bree, who's here to provide that presentation, but I just want to say really quickly, there's some really exciting things going on in Plattsburgh and in our community. There's a playground being built at Fox Hill as we speak. And there's a Parks Come Alive event happening in Melissa Penfield Park as we speak. And if you would like to come and visit after the session is over today, you're all more than welcome, because tonight's presentation is really centered on Melissa Penfield Park and a project proposal to create a playground that I think is going to be hopefully not just transformative for our community, but almost broadly for our region. And I'll let Bree speak to that a little bit more, but I do want to highlight really quickly, because the presentation is going to focus a lot around how we would like to propose building a playground in our community that specifically focuses on accessibility and inclusivity. And we're going to hear a little bit more about that, but to highlight that this is not new, and to celebrate the work of many counselors and staff members and community organizations who have been doing things to make our community more accessible and inclusive. Just to name a couple things, having beach wheelchairs and beach mats at our Plattsburgh City Beach that allows for more people to enjoy our beach facilities, doing things like having a quiet zone or an accessibility tent, or having ASL interpreters at our events so that more people can come out and enjoy our events. making sure that when we rebuilt Market Street, it was all ADA compliant, so that folks can come into our downtown and enjoy, no matter, what their needs are. This is just a continuation of initiatives that our city is already committed to in making our place a more inclusive and thriving, community for people to live in, and to come and visit. And so I wanted to sort of set that stage. There's a resolution on the agenda tonight, to authorize us to go after a grant that would help fund the majority of this playground. Of course, we need the support of the council, in order to go after that. So that's what we're, seeking to accomplish today. CFA applications are due on July 31st, so that's about a week and a half from now. And so that's why this is, we've been talking about CFA for a couple months now, but we're sort of getting into the final moments here. And we're really excited to submit this application. This is the first step in a lot more community work, community fundraising, in seeing this project into fruition. So this is Bree. She works with Compan. I'll let her introduce herself. Thank you for coming from Oswego. Yeah, today. Yeah, so I'll hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a PowerPoint to show you here. Let's get it up. So just so you're aware, this is probably an hour-long presentation. I'm going to cram it in 15 minutes. So some of these slides, I'm just going to cue her to kind of run past as quickly as possible. Some things we're just going to take a peek at, and hopefully it's down here in the lower right-hand corner.
Just trying to.
There we go. All right, go to the next page.
Okay, I just have to share. Screen.
There we go. All right. There's gonna be a lot of clippings, because we're gonna be looking at skipping things. So I work for Compian Playgrounds. We are a global playground manufacturer. Global headquarters is in Denmark, and our US headquarters is right in Austin, Texas. I oversee all of upstate New York business, playground design and build. We've been working with Courtney. This is our second project for the city of Plattsburgh. We did the community Fox Hill. And we've really, just so you're aware, we kind of crammed about 6 months worth of design work into about 3. So we're, trying to get in under the CFA deadline, but this is my design team here. You'll see myself. I've been doing this for 10 years. I specialize in inclusive design for the entire country. I'm an autism mom. I've been doing this for a long time. So that's sort of what we bring to the table. If you want to go ahead and click through, there's a couple slides coming up too that we're gonna skip over. So local, not that one though. Sorry, this is why those little things are nice. There's a back button in the lower left hand corner. There you go. Keep going. There you go, right there. So globally, we're all over the place. We've built playgrounds in over 70 countries worldwide. Really, what makes us one of the best playground manufacturers worldwide is not just the quality of our materials, but also we are a user-centric design firm. So meaning we're really thinking about the kids, how they use the equipment, what they need at particular age groups, and really trying to make that all work together to create these amazing spaces where kids are gonna wanna go back to and stay there and play. Why do we do that? Because kids who are physically active are healthier kids, but also it's the social development of it all too. Go ahead. We're gonna, this is our materials slide. You hide that bar at the top so you don't miss everything. But just a little bit on this, so we can skip over real quick. Highest quality materials of any playground manufacturer. I mean, our stuff, and I think you'll get to see that since you already have one going in. It's just super, super high quality. So you're gonna have very low maintenance involved with our equipment. And it's gonna stay looking fresh and beautiful for a long time. Go ahead and skip this and let's skip to. Keep going. Keep going. All right, so why are we doing this? There's a lot of different reasons why parks are important, and I don't wanna make you assume. Everybody knows everything about it, but park investment is huge. It's one of the biggest topics in the United States. We get onto various different things, but this is just a little bit, this is put out by the National Recreation and Park Association. That good quality, well-appointed parks have a huge impact on economic value, health, environmental benefits, and also social importance. Go ahead and click to the next slide. Another organization who's highly involved in parks is the Trust for Public Land. This organization is deeply rooted in government, public government, throughout the entire country. And one of the biggest goals that a lot of cities have adopted out of the Trust for Public Land is a 10-minute walk. There's scientific evidence that a child who is within 10 minutes of a public park lives a better life than a child that does not. And it hits on so many different levels. Go ahead. And so we're building a bigger, beautiful, the park's there, but bigger, beautiful playground. And what kind of playground? We're not trying to do a small little typical playground. What we're looking to build here is more of a destination playground. Destination playgrounds are something that you have kind of sprung throughout the state. They're talked about a lot, they're photographed a lot, they're advertised a lot, they make top 10 lists, top 50 lists throughout the country. But it also really, for you guys, it draws a lot of people here. People will drive over an hour to come to these types of playgrounds, and they'll stay for the entire day, spend their money there, come to events, things like that. But it's also about the level of detail we put into it too. There isn't a square inch of this design that is completely customized to the park and the need that we are trying to create. Go ahead. And what we're really focused on here is creating a very, very, very special, totally inclusive park. So people throw around that word all the time, right? Inclusive, ADA accessible, what does it really mean? For the average person, the first thing that pops into your head is somebody in a wheelchair, right? But that group of people who fall into having disabilities is much broader, visual, we hear it could be developmental. So there's a whole variety of disabilities that we're serving. It's not just about the kiddos in wheelchairs, everybody's important. So a lot of times when you see people design an inclusive playground, we look and it's just ramp structures and everything. So what we're doing at that point, we're creating exclusive spaces for that particular population. So these are some of the ways that we screw up inclusivity. By creating separation, what we really, really, really want is here. So the star athlete is playing on a piece of equipment right next to a child who's in an assistive device, and they're both having a perfect experience. So that's really what we're trying to do. It's rare to see. It's something that not just municipalities and other park owning entities struggle with, but also designers, architects, landscape architects. It's not an easy thing to achieve. Go ahead. Just click on it, see if it plays. Oh, you're done. Not any volume though?
No.
Okay. Go ahead, just skip it. This is a great video. This is our hero campaign on inclusivity, and really, it's worth watching so you really understand what we're trying to achieve with the playground, but we don't have the technology set up to do that today. So I encourage you, the link gets sent out later on to take a look at that. It'll really help you. What it is it's a set of interviews with adults with disabilities, talking about their childhood, growing up, and their play experiences. It's something we have directly used all of that input to affect design and equipment. So let's jump into Melissa Patrick Park. Go ahead. So project briefing, we're really looking for that flagship playground. We want it to be super inclusive. So everybody wants to go there and play, but also service literally every single age group, even age groups outside of ASTM. So from cradle to grave, so to speak, we want everybody to want to play here in the park. Go ahead, next slide. This is the master plan that was developed by Barton Lucas. You've probably seen this before, but this sort of just to give you an idea of the park where we're talking about. Up in the upper left hand corner, you're going to see the playground area. So that's right as the entrance as you're coming in. Go ahead. This is also part of the package that was submitted with Department of Foodist, and it's just a little bit of a vision board, so you can kind of see how they are looking to improve this park over time. Go ahead. But the playground is really what we're focused on today. So what this is, you're looking at site plans, not everybody knows what a site plan looks at, but that is a very, very, very large playground that's well appointed. We are about 19,000 square foot, so you can get an idea of size. Go ahead. We've really spread the whole age group, so up at the top is like our youngest kids, sort of the 2 to 5 age group. But it's also more of like quieter play, up in some areas with some action play. So there's sort of like a thermostat here of the level of action and age groups that we're looking for here. So right it down to the bottom, closest to the skate park, is some really cool equipment that's gonna be totally appropriate for teenagers. And attractive enough, to draw them to play on. Go ahead. So this shows sort of the types of activities, so you'll see calm, lightly active sensory play, moderately active to physically aggressive play. So we really kind of spread that out, but also concentrated too, because if you think about a kid who's on the spectrum, they might not want to be around all of the action. They might want to withdraw and watch. They might want to do parallel play. So there's areas throughout the whole playground where you can have these different experiences. Go ahead. We also, seating super important, and I think that gets left out a lot, so we just want to show that we really made sure that the parents are gonna be comfortable. Shaded places to sit, places near all the equipment. Go ahead, next slide. And then we went with a super bright, super colorful four-place rubber surface, so you've probably seen like the unitary rubber surfaces that are on playgrounds, so we're not really skipping or we're going for broke on this, like the most beautiful materials we can. Go ahead. So we're gonna get into renderings now, and we'll probably just have you like pause on these for a few seconds and then just keep going through, give a chance to talk about it a little bit. So this is basically the same site plan version you just saw, but in 3D. Go ahead. Talked about some of the equipment, but we can spend hours completely dive into this. So when you first go into Melissa Penfield Park and you look at the sign, what's on the sign? Does anybody know? It's monarch butterfly. So we really have incorporated that design as well. We've also brought in that's for colors, and really do this super sensory rich playground. Go ahead. So in this, starting really in these kind of progress from closest to the entrance to farther away, but this is some of the younger kids' equipment. Go ahead. We've got a sensory dome here for younger kids and a big monarch butterfly sculpture. Keep going. Keep going. You can see the ramp structure coming in background here, so you can see it's very well themed, loaded with different kinds of activities. And you'll notice too, even though that this is a ramp structure, you'll see huge climbing events and very physical events too. And there's also a 27-foot tower. So it's one of those structures that really is gonna attract everybody. Here's another view. So you can see here, there's a track ride off the side. Keep going. Very tall tower with big huge slide. All these things really draw the kids in. We have a swing carousel here in the front. Keep going. Go ahead. You just play all around, under, over. There's a lot of these. Swings for everybody. There's so many different kinds of swinging activities on here too. So these are more of the traditional types, but you've seen the swing carousel earlier. There's gonna be another type of swing coming up. Climbing activities. Quiet seating areas as well as big beautiful domes. So it's very well themed. Keep going. It's really well themed. It's really meant to fit Plattsburgh identity, but also the whole goals of the project, which is really the inclusion, destination style playground. Keep going. I'd love to take a deep dive on this equipment with you, but we really don't have the time. It's a pendulum swing. But some of the main structures are some of the really cool things, and since this is the monarch butterfly sculpture, these are so beautiful in person, and this is really like that thing you're gonna see when you're first coming into the park. Go ahead. Yep, this is the mini dome. There's the big ramp structure there, so this gives you a little bit of a clearer view without the surfacing and everything else around it too. You can see all different types of activities there, how it's really built for the different age groups and abilities. Go on. There's the giant dome, this is 20 feet tall, at the very, very top, so it's really huge in scale, and the way it's set up there almost looks like a flower coming out. Butterfly, you know. And so making it a reality, so Courtney kind of touched on this, we're gonna be going after CFA funding, consolidated. Funding application for New York State Parks, Recreation and Historic Preservation, and they have an action grant you can go after. So that is like the most typical way to fund the larger playgrounds in the state, we do probably 10-15 of them a year at least. And that it's a huge chunk. And there's also many other funding sources that you can go after. Peaceful Playgrounds is one. Almost all of the big brand names, especially athletic brand names, have specific playground or anything that encourages physical activity in young children. There's all kinds of grants you can get from, you know, especially the smaller ones too. They're typically between $5,000 and $50,000 per pet. And then there's always the sand grants. So the playground, we were given a $2 million budget with a $500,000 agency. Right now, we're estimated at 2.2 with the sign you just saw. I had mentioned again, kind of crammed 6 months worth of design work into 3 months because we really wanted to get the application in. But what you have to understand at this point is we're really in a planning and funding stage, right? So we're going after grants, we have to submit something to go with that, and then it has to be a fully realized playground. So although we would love, that would be the next step, really, the community engagement, input, feedback on the design, finding the budget, finding the equipment, things like that. So these are everything that's sort of included in that budget. Go ahead, next slide. And then this is also a possibility too, and we would want to revisit the design too, but phasing is a possibility. So this can kind of be done in chunks, and there's a logical way to do it that makes the most sense, and we wouldn't exactly have the same layout here, but it's totally possible to do it in chunks too. So you can go in one area and then build your way down through, instead of doing it all at one time. Go ahead. And then just some examples of some real life content destination playgrounds. You can skip through. Big ones, anywhere from, you know, this is Alabama, this is the largest slide in the United States, this is San Francisco, Seattle, Indianapolis. So just some examples I happen to have, so you can see some of the larger playgrounds. And the funny thing is, some of those ones I just showed you, the playground structures itself are more than your total playground, so. There's a couple $2 million structures that I just showed you there, yeah, that's not even installed surfacing too, but to give you a little bit of an idea, so. Just wanted to share that with you, and we're hoping tonight that we can get this submitted to CFA and see if we can tonight to build something cool. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Considering the time, you know, I'm not gonna rush an executive session, so if y'all wanna continue, just explaining the item. Or if there's questions about other items on the agenda or continued questions about reports, we'll use the remaining 10 minutes of this work session. When we go into regular meeting, we'll use that executive session to go talk about the updated project.
I've got some questions for the fire department about the fireboat, if you don't mind. So it looks like it's about $7,000 to get insured.
Yes.
Yeah, well, how long ago did we buy that boat?
That boat was purchased last year.
Okay,
It was a project that was funded with the mayor's support and council support based on a comprehensive review of hazards and firefighting hazards, and specifically on the water and the amount of dollar value that's in the marina. So we purchased the used boat in our budget, knowing we were gonna need to reclaim it, essentially repurpose that boat, and that's what we did, doing almost all the work in-house on ship with our members.
okay.
So it's ready to go, and just need the insurance a bit more.
Okay, I see. So are there other agencies that have boats like this that can be used?
There is one agency south of us that just put a boat together. They just put it out this year. It's not quite as large as ours, but that would be the only other boat in the area from a
Okay.
firefighting standpoint.
I see. Have there been in your tenure, have there been any structure fires that have need to be addressed from the water?
No structure fires. We have had some smaller fires at the marina. And everything has been able to be handled probably with portable extinguishers. But it's more the potential that is there. Being the type of materials, you have electricity, you have fuel, you have plastics that are stacked on top of one another.
Yeah.
The potential is very great.
Yeah, well, that stuff's always been there though, right?
It has been, and we've worked with Marina Management on this project to get their support for housing the boat, which will be done at no cost. And they were super excited about it because they recently, well, it was last year when we began talking, they had a double fatality at one of the marinas due to a boat fire. So they were very excited to have something that would have some suppression capabilities.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Will that boat be used in any swift water rescue, or is that exclusively for fires?
It would be exclusively for the lake. It's a pretty large boat. We have swift water capabilities. We have inflatable boats for that. That are not capable for the lake. So it's two kind of separate types of rescues. So this would be for the open lake and firefighting on the water.
How much does it cost to maintain this boat?
Maintain it, we're not sure. I mean, we haven't purchased, we don't expect a lot of maintenance on it. It's been redone, all the electrical's been redone within the budget we had to work with. So we don't expect maintenance will be much more than fuel and the insurance carrying costs.
Okay, and you use this for training purposes as well?
We will, we haven't yet because we've been waiting on this.
Okay.
Only in the summer,
Oh, yeah, it'll be only in the summer. Well, as long as we can keep it in.
no winter usage.
No, you still.
Where is that gonna be stored in the winter?
Right, so currently working with marina management, when you come in off of Dock Street to the city-owned marina to the left, right at the main fuel dock. It will be docked right there, they'll have the ability to move it around if they need to during the fishing tournaments or whatnot. But it will allow our crews, it's not gonna be staff per se, it would be the on-duty crews that would respond to the fire engine. Jump on the boat, and it will allow us to just jump off the truck and deploy that boat relatively quickly.
I'm good. Thank you.
No,
Want to ask anything?
no, I asked the questions already about overtime and the updated OSHA law, and it sounds like we can expect some kind of report.
Yes, we're very familiar with what's going on and been monitoring it. We can definitely get some thing more comprehensive too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions on the items on the agenda?
I do have a question on 7.154 about street restriping.
Yes.
Is that you, Courtney? Are you handling that one?
Yeah.
Or Alicia?
It's a joint project.
So-
It's going forward for step 8 funding, that's the proposal.
What stretch of Broad Street are we looking at? That will,
So, it would be essentially from Oak Street all the way up, to. All the way up past the Brewer intersection. To Prospect.
So say it again, from Oak,
From Oak all the way, I think it's to Prospect.
okay, so right past the college, basically.
Yeah, and portions of it will impact not Ruger Street, but at the intersection of Broad and Ruger. Some of it will impact going west on Broad Street up to Prospect.
because there are currently 4 lanes there, are we saying we're gonna?
So we're gonna reduce the lane widths,
Mhm.
and 5 bike lanes on either side where possible, your visual roadway would allow. In a portion of the northern section of Broad Street, we will have to remove off-street parking to allow the bike lanes and the travel lanes to coexist. the intent is to, keep the same traffic pattern throughout, so we don't have to get into changing signalization or maybe an astronomically expensive project.
Is that gonna affect current property owners? I know some of them only have on-street parking. Like they have no driveways, anyone.
We checked it, we looked at parking all along Broad Street, all of the properties along Broad Street do have off-street parking. There is one parcel that actually has really difficult access, that's an undeveloped parcel at this time, and it's just really precarious location to even access to it. And we did go essentially door to door on the eastern end of Broad Street around the funeral home where there are more businesses, and checked with them to see what their actual demands were. And few of them, with the exception of the funeral home, actually use the on-street parking or rely on it. And we also looked at aerial photos to kind of visually assess the amount of off-street parking that each of those entities have. The funeral home was most concerned, but the initial proposal was to take away the parking on the north side across from the funeral home. But we revisited it and decided that it was best to keep it there. And we can keep it there while still having bikes on the side. As we move west towards the Ruger intersection, the whole street actually narrows. So we thought we would be able to have continuous 5-foot bike lanes. But as you approach the Ruger intersection, we do have to kind of move it to an on-street shared roadway and use the shadows for a short distance.
Yeah, for a short distance between right around William, just after the intersection traveling west on Broad. There are already bike lanes, dedicated bike lanes on Ruger Street. Those won't change. If anything, the bike lane traveling east on Ruger that converges with Broad will continue. But the parking spots that Alicia's referring to is on that end of the at that end of the project, right around William. Anything east of William or west of William is what we're talking about, the parking spots to be removed.
And what we found too is that the on-street parking in that area is more utilized by SUNY students and especially visitors of SUNY versus the property owners, the private property owners. And there's been, I think there's a lower usage of on-site SUNY parking. So removing the parking in that area shouldn't have any impact on the overall parking plan. It will just make people relocate their parking decisions, but it shouldn't impact anyone, private property owner on the street. And overall, the intent of this is to calm Broad Street, hopefully bring down the number of traffic incidences. I you all might recall there was actually a student, a SUNY student that was hit and hospitalized and taken out of classes for quite some time about a year ago. There were also City of Plattsburgh elementary students who crossing Broad Street had near hit incidences that they have fear for their lives and probably traumatized them for their lives. And just a number of other collisions along Broad Street and road rage. And I think everybody in here has probably heard one story or another about how awful the conditions can be at times. So the intent is to just really calm it and bring it back into a easier road to travel, safer road to travel, and make it more inviting and safer for all of us to travel. And while furthering our complete streets efforts and implementing our bike-friendly Plattsburgh plan, so and basically make all of our efforts forward.
One of the things I really love to see in cities that embrace the bikeability. Is when those bike lanes are actually painted green. Just thought I would add that in as my 2 cents.
See that more and more.
I like that a lot.
I can't disagree with you. They really stand out. I think, I don't think it's a bad element. I think it's just a cost, concern and how long the durability of that paint. I know right now we have a hard time keeping our basic line work through the winters. And right now we only have one contractor in the full region that is able to complete the work and has the backlog of the work, but it's definitely something that we could consider moving forward.
Because it just stands out. And it goes right through intersections and I like that a lot. I just
Thank you.
chime in.
One aspect of this project is that we've worked very closely with a number of community stakeholders, Plattsburgh City School District. We've spoken with that team, and as part of this application will come letters of support for the project. So we've gone back and forth with stakeholders to confirm that our thinking is shared with them, and it's not an interruption, but rather an enhancement to the overall livability and accessibility of our roadways. So we've spoken with Plattsburgh City School District, SUNY PD, Students President's Office, Climate Smart Task Force, Fig County Health Department. So these are folks that have been aware of this project and will be submitting letters of support along with this application.
Does something like this need a feasibility study of any way?
What was that?
Does anything like this need a feasibility study? Did it have?
This needed the design to be advised here, and we have done roadway counts, and we do have the bike and so I don't think there is a need for a feasibility study for today, but that is a good question.
Yeah, sorry. One other point to make, and I know that after this, I think we're gonna wrap up and move on. That the intersection at Broad and Catherine, that was a major concern of ours, primarily because the costs associated with changing the traffic pattern of that magnitude would have been significant. And as well as based on the traffic counts, based on anecdotal observation, it's pretty clear that there is a backup or tends to be a backup of traffic where it comes to school letting in and out right around that area. So one thing that we remain sensitive to is reducing the question about reducing traffic in front of the school and maintaining the exact roadway as it is in front of the school, except for the north lane on Broad Street traveling west. But those two traffic lanes that are in front of the actual middle school traveling east will remain, as well as the through traffic at the intersection will also remain to prevent that level of backup or that level of concern of backup in that area.
Can we see a diagram of that?
We'll send it out if you don't mind. Hopefully not seen is not going to prevent from supporting the application, but we will send it out. Yeah.
One quick. You're going down Broad, you're in front of the college, you can either turn left, you can go straight. Is that getting put down, that section right there, is that going down to one lane or is that staying two?
You'll still have the ability, there will still be a turn lane, and then there's going to be a through lane as well.
But that. Okay, so because I can't even tell you the number of times, and I'm saying this in front of the police. You're going down, and if you're doing the 30 and they don't like it, they're using that left lane to go around you. Gentleman shaking his head, yeah. So I mean,
to your point, when you do look at even coming back further down to the Catherine Street intersection, that westbound travel lane. There's two travel lanes there, which are unnecessary. That is going to be one travel lane.
Okay, and there's going to be bike.
And there's going to be a bike lane and one traveling west, so there is no opportunity to race around the traffic that is apparently slow. And based on, if you think about logically, based on the traffic pattern, there really should is no real need to have two lanes there at all, because there is no two lanes that converge based on the traffic,
Okay,
the traffic control.
gotcha.
It is only when you get close to the intersection around William, where it does split and you can take that dedicated left-hand turn or the dedicated right up to Broad.
Okay,
Okay,
gotcha,
yeah, thank you.
gotcha.
With nothing else, please, may, no, I know, I gotta enter, I gotta exit this meeting and go into the next one. Motion to adjourn the work session. Counselor Gibbs, second by, Counselor Manette. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. At this time, the city of Plattsburgh, do you want to start right now? Or do you want to restart the? Okay, cool. This time the city of Plattsburgh is holding a public hearing to hear public comment on the completion of the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG project. Number 927 ED 972-21, the Vilas Home Project, administered by the New York State Office of Community Renewal. The $750,000 grant has been fully exhausted in the multi-phase expansion project of the Vilas Home in the city of Plattsburgh. Phase 1 of the expansion project, utilizing the CDBG funds, has created 50 new jobs. The full expansion project will result in a historic renovation of the existing Vilas Home, additional bathrooms, larger rooms, and updating the building in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior. In addition, a 70-unit, 60,000 square foot addition will be included in a light secure memory care wing, a more comprehensive dementia memory care wing, and additional enhanced limited nursing beds. The CDBG funds have been used for architectural and engineering costs, legal fees, design consultants, project management, and the advertisement of the new available rooms. Only 1% of the CDBG funds were used for the administration and management of the grant, roughly around $8,000. This hearing is being conducted pursuant to section 570.486 subpart 1 of the CFR and in compliance with the requirements of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended. I'll now take a motion to open the public hearing. Counselor Bond, second by Counselor Gibbs. This public hearing is open. If there's anybody who would like to address the council regarding this project for this public hearing, please come to the podium, state your legal name and address for the record, and make your comment for this public hearing. Seeing none, I will now take a motion, entertain a motion to exit this public hearing. Motion by Counselor Bond, second by Counselor Gibbs. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to call the July 18th, 2024 regular meeting of the Common Council of the City of Plattsburgh to order. It is 5:36 p.m. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Carlin, will you please conduct a roll call?
Mayor Rosenbaum.
Here.
Counselor Bond.
Here.
Counselor Avery.
Here.
Counselor Gibbs.
Here.
Counselor Talon.
Here.
Counselor Manette.
Here.
Counselor Moore.
Here,
All councilors have received a copy of the minutes of the July 3rd, 2024 regular meeting. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll now entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Motion by Counselor Talon, second by Counselor Gibbs. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Carried. I'll now recognize those in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the council on any topic. Please come to the podium to be acknowledged. When called upon, we do ask that you please state your legal name and address for the record. In accordance with the organizational rules of order, all speakers will be given 5 minutes to address the council. Thank you.
So I'm not a public speaker and I don't really know how to properly address you guys, so I'm just gonna say what some of my concerns are.
Just sure, what's your name? Just your name.
Eric Silver.
Eric, thank you.
So a few years ago, my identity was stolen by relatives. I reported it to the police. Detective Joshua Golden told me he wasn't gonna do his job because he doesn't have to. Later on in 2022, he would later be arrested for an assault charge and I believe involuntarily restraint. I tried many times to get justice through the legal system. I've been to the police station many times. When I went to address the issue with I believe he's now the former chief of police, Nathan York. Him and a few other officers were in the parking lot where they mocked me before they assaulted me. I sued civilly. And I was handed a check for $20 and a note that says they accept no responsibility. I don't know what I'm hurt more by. Because when my relatives did that to me, it kind of tore my soul apart. Like, you don't expect people to steal from you like that. And then when you go to the police, you want them to help. You want them to be the people you can go to, that you can trust. And my trust had just been broken. And then it got broken again and again. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around that, and I just felt like maybe somebody should come and say, like, not all your cops are bad guys, some of them are great people, you have to understand that, some of them really wanna help your community. They really wanna do the right thing, and they're there doing the right thing. But you have some problems. And those problems aren't just with my problems with those people. They've had problems with other individuals and with the legal system themselves. And it seems like if we keep having repeat problems with the same officers, maybe instead of looking the other way, we should look at the problem and we should address the problem. And that's all I really have to say. Thank you for listening to me. I'm gonna leave just because I said what I had to say, and I think you did hear me, and I'm trying to be respectful about it, because some of your officers are good. I've seen this officer down there. He's always been nice to me. And never been an issue. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Okay. How are you?
Hi, my name is Jillian Brittner, and I'm a resident. And I want that.
Thank you.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
I'm a resident. And I live on Flynn Ave. But what the actually problem is, and I'm gonna use the word sharrows, pavement markings, road art. These things, these bicycles that put in the road. So now youth are using their motorized bikes, everybody's riding around and having a good time. But nobody knows what the rules are. So what I'm asking you for tonight is, because I'm a car driver and I'm flying coming down the road and they've got nothing on the back of their scooter or electric wheelchairs, and they make the road better because the sidewalks so lumpy. So what I wanted to ask tonight, and some way get it to us public, what is the current provisional police chief status? Will there be a new posting for the police chief? And I just wanted to throw that out. And I am concerned with the new law information on the sheriff's pavement markings, road art, call them whatever you want. Regarding wheelchairs and bicycles, Flynn Ave has many speeding cars driving on the road with multiple wheelchairs and motorized bikes. I think the police department should step up their game. How you ask for the safety of me and other common truck drivers. Well, one thing I know the police department has done is to train police officers, policing on bikes. I was referenced to the downtown outreach center, and I've been down there twice and peered in the windows. It's full of junk. Because it's supposedly there was supposed to be a woman down there, a police officer, who was working on that stuff. Then I heard she's on maternity leave. So I've had no more contact with the police department. And I'd also like to say, in the future, educate the city population. And online, under the New York DMV website of laws, they have multiple suggestions and handouts that you could give to kids or somebody in the street. I'm not saying go out to these people to be difficult. I'm saying it. That's what it's been said.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Anybody else who'd like to address the council on any topic?
Hello, for those of you who I haven't had the privilege to meet in person yet, I'm Amy Colleen. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the North Country Center for Independence, which is where I work. And I'm very excited about the project that's potentially happening at Melissa Penfield. It's a big project and requires a lot of attention. The CAP staff is going to be impressive that gets put together, but Courtney has a lot of experience with doing capital projects, and I think it's a really fantastic adventure for the city. I am particularly excited about the fact that if it does come to fruition, that it creates a space that's big enough to bring more people with disabilities to that space. And I think the inclusivity that we talked about, when we get it wrong enough times and to get it right and actually make it inclusive is going to be really fantastic. We can get a lot of kids together with different kinds of abilities and disabilities. It normalizes the play that makes kids have those young, beautiful lives. And I think I'd be excited about that. So last, I just wanted to say that if in the process it should get approved to go forward, that I'd be happy to be a liaison in some way and partner in the grant writing process. So it's nice to have partnerships that are involved with the community, and the Center for Independence I'm sure would be happy to be part of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else who'd like to address the council on any topic? Okay. Fair enough. Good to see you. There are no correspondence or recommendations from any special committees. I'll report that the payrolls for the various city departments, the city of Plattsburgh for the weekend in July 10th, 2024, in the amount of $671,145.85. We'll also note that the bills audited for the weeks ending July 12th, 2024, in the amount of $1,530,897.59, and July 19th, 2024, in the amount of $870,571.75. As reported, the items 6.1 through 6.4 have been submitted for the council. Those reports have been submitted for the council. We'll move on to liaison reports. Plattsburgh Public Library, Councilor Nanette.
I have nothing to report.
Climate Smart Task Force, Councilors Allen and/or Avery.
I have nothing to report.
There is a climate smart task force table out on the Melissa Penfield Park right now, so go and say hey.
Thank you. I'll note that also the traffic designation, the traffic zone designation number 2024.3 is submitted for the council. Ms. Carlin, will you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted upon?
Item 7.149, travel request, police department.
Motion by Councilor Gibbs, second Councilor Avery, discussion. Roll call.
Council Bond,
Yes.
Council Avery,
Yes.
Council Gibbs.
Yes.
Council Callan.
Yes.
Council Net.
Yes.
Council Moore.
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.150, authorized memorandum of agreement between the city of Plattsburgh and PFC Robert A. McCollum, chapter 179, disabled American veterans from maintenance of Veterans Memorial Park on the USO.
Motion by Councilor Talon, second by Councilor Gibbs, discussion.
What are they exactly going to be doing for maintenance?
Yeah, what are they gonna be doing for maintenance?
Or yeah, I mean, what's the?
So the grant was provided, through Billy Jones' office. The improvements to the park have been designed and submitted to the veterans group. Fundamentally, the ongoing maintenance, brick replacement, general cleanup. Anything that is any major concerns are going to be handled through the DAV. Other general park maintenance, snow removal, mowing, things like this will be managed through the city of Plattsburgh. Will continue to be managed through the city of Plattsburgh, as well as flag replacement. I think the city pays for the flag to be replaced at the request of the veterans group.
Yeah, the city owns that property, right? It's,
Yeah, oh yeah, no, the city still owns the property. This is an agreement with that group for ongoing maintenance, as well as the acceptance and the implementation of that grant and that new design for that park. And that part, the design again was done in conjunction with that group, using those funds. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Bond.
Yes.
Council Avery.
Yes.
Council Gibbs.
Yes.
Council Callan.
Yes.
Council Net.
Yes.
Council Moore.
yes.
Carried.
Item 7.151 budget executive general fund, City Hall door locks.
Motion, Counselor Gibbs, second by Counselor Avery, discussion. Roll call.
Council Bond.
Yep.
Council Avery.
Yes.
Council Gibbs.
Yes.
Council Talon.
Yes.
Council Manette.
Yes.
Council Moore.
Yes,
Carried.
Item 7.152, award City Hall door lock contract to NCC Systems.
All right, motion by Counselor Gibbs, second by Counselor Avery, discussion. Roll call.
Council Bond.
Yes.
Council Avery.
Yes.
Council Gibbs.
Yes.
Council Talon.
Yes.
Council Manette.
Yes.
Council Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.153, authorized creation of the 2024 redistricting commission.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second by Counselor Avery, discussion.
yeah, I have a question here. I think the only real problem with that street is something that I see in several other streets in the city. That thing hasn't been,
This is for the redistricting.
oh, oh, okay, sorry. Save that.
Never mind.
Any further discussion on item 7153? Roll call.
Well,
I'm sorry.
who are the people? I didn't see in any of the literature, any of the actual motion.
I sent it to everybody on council, Jeff, and you.
I didn't see that.
I would,
All right.
I would ask Counselor Gibb and all other counselors to just be mindful that when you're sending items for the agenda, those items come through my office directly. Please don't send them to Beth or Sylvia saying, put this on the agenda. More importantly, it needs to be made clear in what city resources are going to be needed for this so that they can be aligned to support this effort or any effort by council. Again, just respectfully, the charter makes it clear. Just please send those so that resources can be aligned appropriately.
Okay, I didn't know if there's any changes because that had been from a while ago.
This one,
Yeah.
this one was just sent out maybe a week and a half.
Yeah,
This is the one I circulated to everybody. else.
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to be clear on
Yep.
that.
Any
All right.
further discussion? Roll call.
Council Bond.
Yes.
Council Avery.
Yes.
Council Gibbs.
Yes.
Council Talon.
Yes.
Council Manette.
Yes.
Council Moore.
Yes,
Carried.
Item 7.154, authorize the community development director to apply for a CFT grant for Broad Street restriping.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second by Counselor Manette. Discussion.
okay, this kind of
This is yours.
pertains to this, but
Yeah.
a lot of our streets, and that street especially, I've commented about this many times to my wife when we're driving. That thing hasn't been striped in a long time. There's no stripes. So you don't know whether you're in the correct lane or the incorrect lane because the lanes aren't marked at all. I think that's the only problem with it. That's a major street going east-west in the city. I don't think it needs anything other than restriping. I do not think we need to make the lanes smaller, get rid of lanes. That is probably one of the busiest streets in the city. You got the North Catherine and South Catherine meet there. It's coming out of downtown. It goes up to the malls. It's very busy. I think it's fine just the way it is. I do not see any reason to change the configuration of that at this time, but that's just my opinion. I
Thank you.
travel that quite often.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Bond.
Yes.
Council Avery.
No.
Council Gibbs.
Yes.
Council Talon.
Yes.
Council Manette.
Yes.
Council Moore.
No,
Carried.
Item 7.155, approve CFA application for Empire State Development Strategic Planning and Feasibility Study.
Motion. Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Avery, discussion. Roll call.
Council Bond.
Yes.
Council Avery.
Yes.
Council Gibbs.
Yes.
Council Talon.
Yes.
Council Manette.
Yes.
Council Moore.
no,
Carried.
Item 7.156, approve CFA application for inclusive and accessible playground at Melissa Penfield Park.
Motion by Counselor Talon, second by Counselor Avery, discussion. Roll call.
Council Bond.
Yes.
Council Avery.
Yes.
Council Gibbs.
Yes.
Council Talon.
Yes.
Council Manette.
Yes.
Council Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.157. Approving of artwork display renewal for Bentonville Art Park.
Motion by Counselor Talon, second by Counselor Gibbs, discussion.
Just out of curiosity,
Yes.
who did you Did you, God, am I brain dead tonight or what? Judges, who judged these?
Oh, well, in keeping with how it was done in the previous, those folks, I believe, were anonymous community members as part of the, but
Okay.
they did consist of community members and professionals with, and then city staff with a background in art, public art, that kind of thing.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Net,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
Yes,
Carried.
Item 7.158, approved budget adjustment, general fund insurance coverage for the city's fire.
Motion. Counselor Manette, second. Counselor Bond, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Net,
No.
Counselor Moore.
no,
Carried.
Item 7.159, authorized title property casualty and liability insurance coverage for the city's fire vessel.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Bond, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Net,
No.
Counselor Moore.
no,
Carried.
Item 7.160, approving contract extension, contract number 2023-04, instrumentation services for the water resource recovery facility and the water filtration plant.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Avery, discussion.
What's this?
What's this?
What's this?
I was gonna ask almost the same way, 'cause
Uh-huh.
I read it and really.
Hey, I'm okay with this tonight, I'm good, so.
Wow. All right, this is as plainly as I can say, and thankfully the experts are in the room. There is a need, an ongoing need, by our overseers. To ensure that the calibration of the measuring tools in all of our facilities, and this one is these two are no different. But this is an extension of the organization that does that maintenance and calibration. Any further discussion? Go on.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Net,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.161, authorized dam grant and funding application for required engineering assessments for Westbrook 1 and 2 dams.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Manette, discussion.
yeah. I have one question there. You know, we have these dams in the surface water there that we have been using for many years. And now that we're moving into wells, like, it seems to me we're kind of caught in between two different places here. We're trying to make a hybrid system, I guess. But eventually, the dams need repair, as we know that the Mead Dam does. I think we should have made a command decision at some point at the fork in the road. Are we gonna go with the dams or are we gonna go with the wells? It's expensive to keep both up. I don't know if we did the proper due diligence to decide at the time whether we were going for wells or we were going for surface water, but I think we're ending up spending more money than we need to by going in both directions at the same time. Just a comment on that.
Yeah, and this, that noted, great point that, yeah, and I think that we have been over time divesting ourselves with the assurance that we do have sufficient water supply through the production wells and through the exploration of production wells. And this here is looking at Westbrook specifically, not Mead, as a way to continue to ensure that water source is maintainable, but without spending too much time and resources on the Mead Reservoir, in the sense of doing some maintenance, but maybe not long-term reclamation of the dam that's currently out there. Again, that's one of the reasons why we've been doing production wells on that property, so that we can potentially, and certainly in the near future, divest ourselves from that surface water. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Vaughn,
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.162, SUNY police request to divert traffic for students arrival.
A motion by Counselor Avery, second by Counselor Gibbs, discussion.
Have we,
Go ahead.
sorry, have we done this before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like every year, right?
yes, we've done this.
Yeah, they pretty much block the entire street when they're moving in, so.
It didn't go well, or it was smooth?
Typically, no, typically it goes well. I mean,
Yeah.
like, we don't really get a lot of problems, especially when there's a lot of preparation, a lot of signage. The shuttering of one of these lanes is still, you know, you can still travel on it, but it's, you know, one of the things that's recommended to just take an alternative route, which is not that problematic to do.
No,
But this is a regular thing, just so that it becomes smooth for students,
it doesn't. I think it would be, yeah.
Further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Item 7.163, travel request water resource recovery facility.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Vaughn, discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Vaughn,
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
Yes.
Carried.
Carried. Thank you. Any new business to come before the council? Yeah.
We are traveling tonight. You go first this time. I'm good.
I had a question for you, Mayor. I read the article this week that was posted in the Press Republican about the Greyhound bus.
Yes.
Where is this $1,000 that Greyhound is going to be giving us? Where is that going?
No, it's not going anywhere. They made they made a verbal offer to provide that to the city to offset any trash pickup or concerns at that location, additional signage. That is not something that I have brought to the council, considering that there's a lot of ambiguity as to what's happening there right now. I can continue to expound on the entire situation, from what I know. But that's the answer to your question about some money's being potentially or offered to the city anyway.
So it's kind of in limbo then. It's an offer, but we haven't done anything with it.
Correct. Yeah, it was an offer made in conversation that's something that Greyhound would be willing to provide the city to again offset any concerns, garbage pickup, signage at that location. But it's not something that I had brought to council. And mind you, sorry, I apologize. It just happened this week,
Right.
like last Thursday. So
I read the article in the paper where Greyhound has the location listed as 19 Cornelia Street, which is parking lot behind City Hall, I believe. Is there going to be any kind of concrete updated plan? Because the pickup drop off in front of the government center is just not sustainable. I don't know to what extent the city becomes involved in this, or police or county agencies, but the fact that it's listed as 19 Cornelia Street means City Hall is actually going to be impacted, because it really should be picking up, dropping off at the location that's listed for Greyhound. So I guess I'm looking for an update from you about what is the plan going forward. Because I've already received complaints from constituents about buses being late, traffic jams down there, an individual who was stranded. So I didn't know if there was going to be continued dialogue, and if we were going to be included on what is the plan. Is there any plan?
Yeah, but Counselor Gibbs, just to be clear, a plan on what specifically?
Because right now, Greyhound, according to the article, Greyhound lists 19 Cornelia, which is City Hall Place, but they're dropping off in front of the county building on Cornelia. So since that invokes City Hall property, I wondered, is there going to be some kind of plan that you are working on with Greyhound and the county to straighten that out?
To straighten out the address where they're listing pick. I think it might just be a phone call or an email to Greyhound saying you're listed the pickup drop off at the incorrect location. Taking a bit of a step back, there is, and again, I confirm this with Officer Pond, with the building inspector's office, there's nothing, and with Dean, there's nothing in city code that prevents the bus service from using that particular location to pick up and drop off.
So are they making the decision completely on their own? a business decision they made.
I mean, look, they came to my office.
I don't know what we're talking
There,
about.
there was an article in the paper a couple days ago about the Greyhound bus, and it's been covered by several local media.
Mhm.
Greyhound bus station is now 19 Cornelia Street, which is the parking lot right behind City Hall. But they are dropping and picking up outside of the county building on Cornelia Street, which is blocking access for the county, what we used to call the cart bus. I don't know what it's called now.
Yeah, you know.
And Eric Day, who is in charge of Clinton County 911, basically emergency services, expressed extreme concerns because it creates block access to the building. So, and it creates all kinds of other repercussions here, because if you're picking up or dropping off, but it's not at the right address, and you're opening up the doors and you're loading people on and off right there on Cornelia Street where the county bus picks up and drops off. There are all kinds of logistical issues, and I wondered, what is, I mean, I'm just kind of concerned about the cascading effects of this issue.
Quite frankly, counselors, I have seen and we have seen no direct major impact. There was one incident that that was reported to us regarding some debate or altercation between two other services vying for business out there. You know, in the multiple conversations I've had with county officials, there is unfortunately a lot of doom and gloom. Sky is falling, people's hair is on fire, and you think like, you know, the world's falling apart because they're using that location. Observed, you go out there, buses are parked there, public transit's parked there. Again, I've seen no major issues, nothing major has been reported to this office. Certainly from the county's perspective, they might not like it. And my position has been with them is there is a multimodal building up at the county airport to negotiate the use of that bus terminal that was funded by grants for Greyhound or for a bus to operate up there and to negotiate with the bus service directly. That's the whole purpose of that building.
From the pandemic.
So from the city's perspective, there is no law. We can't go out there and say, don't do that. There's no premise for us to tell them, don't do that. I mean, I guess that's the long and short of it. I mean, there's nothing that we can do to just go out there and tell them to stop.
What was the issue with the location up on Route 3 that they had started with?
Again, I don't know all of the details. There was a contract, there wasn't a contract, there was an agreement, there wasn't an agreement. I don't know. I wasn't privy to those conversations as to why they moved from Route 9 up to Route 3 and from Route 3 into the city.
The one time I saw it, it was on the north side. It wasn't in the county spots where they pick up. It was on the other side of the street.
Okay.
Well,
In all those spots,
They're
in all
picking-
those parking
they're
spots.
picking up and dropping off
Oh, yeah.
on Cornelia Street.
Yeah.
Where the county buses are
Yeah.
already designated. And that creates like I said, cascading logistical issues and problems for anybody who wants to take the bus, get dropped off at the bus.
Sorry, just to interject again, there's nothing preventing the public transit from stopping and picking up there. There's nothing preventing them from doing that. They're currently doing it now.
But it's listing on City Hall.
I understand, that's a separate.
So that's where.
No, that's a separate issue. I think that's an easy email to just clarify that with the bus service to say that the address that you have listed for pickup and drop off is incorrect. I don't think that, you know, the other part about it being a logistical nightmare and, you know, everybody can't get on their bus and, you know, I just don't, we're not observing that. We're just not observing it. So
I'm just repeating what the
I
paper
don't
reported
understand.
from Eric Day.
I understand that.
And he is our emergency services head, and that's not what he said. So I just wondered if there was going to be any further communication with Greyhound and if you were going to share that with council, because I'm getting phone calls. So I didn't.
Sure, and that's, again, what I just said is the communication that we've had, right, so. And we've been going back and forth with the county to negotiate with Greyhound to use the terminal at the airport.
It's currently being rented.
And not that I'm aware of. The last time I heard it was empty and vacant and there's no. unless they're negotiating something different with Greyhound, I don't know. Again,
There's
I'm
like a
not,
truck driving company that was renting it.
okay, I'm not part of that. But again, I'm, you know, the city mayor, not the county executive and not the town supervisor and not Greyhound and not Sunoco. So share with you what I've talked about with these folks.
And also, in Saratoga, they have the bus pickup at the train station, so
Sure.
that's.
As the city mayor,
Yeah,
unfortunately, this has to do with the bocce ball courts and
Yes.
Mike is not here.
sure.
Do you want me to wait?
No, what you got?
Okay. Paula Cormier,
Okay.
did I say that right?
Close.
Okay. Reached out,
Close enough.
to me,
You know who you're-
it's Jeff's sister. She
Oh.
reached out to me, she and Barb Thomas,
Okay.
who is, you know.
BT, I know BT, yep.
Right, yes, BD. They want the courts, east-west, perpendicular to the courts, to the, you know,
Okay,
they do not want concrete or the draining.
okay,
All they want is wooden frames.
sure.
That's
Okay,
all
I
they want.
totally understand. Let me
It's
reach
better
out.
if you
Okay.
read, like I said, do you want me to wait
No,
for my?
but no,
and
I
mean,
appreciate it, Counselor, I appreciate it. Let me reach out to the people who approached us to
Yeah.
ask them, and we were all there. when we
Yes.
Talked about it, and they were like,
Yes.
this is great.
They don't want,
Yeah.
well, she wasn't, and they said it would be better not to, something about it would be too hard on
Sure.
the balls they throw and the concrete would, yeah.
Okay.
So.
And then we also got a bunch of funds, I'm sure you're aware.
And she said that if funding is an issue, we have the ARC and that Billy Jones office said that they could get a grant for it.
No, that's
So-
the funds that we apparently have already it's already been
Okay,
indicated to us that
okay.
it's gonna be provided for those courts.
Yep, so.
Excuse me.
Um,
So, I'll just revisit with the folks that were
Yes.
here and make sure the other organizational people are involved.
the only thing is, they would love these done before August 17th, and they practice every Saturday morning.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we'll see what we can do.
But the season starts August 17th,
Gotcha.
and they do practice on Saturday.
So Yeah, like, I'll be out there with them.
Well, I think the point
Let's
is,
double it.
we needed something quite more simple than what I think was being envisioned. It's pretty much just a patch of grass when you got
It's
2x4s to
Yeah.
define
Yeah,
it.
well, right
with
now,
wood
what's-
around it. and all
right now,
that.
what's envisioned is 3 strips of grass with painting on it, so I don't know. Without any more improvement, so.
Well,
that's really-
they're concerned that rain mowing
Sure.
and it's just gonna disappear.
All right, not to belabor it, but I will reach out to them and just coordinate that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the financial or credit history of a particular corporation and the proposed sale of real property where the publicity could substantially affect the value thereof. Make a motion, sorry, for Counselor Manette, thank you. Counselor Gibbs, second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We're now in executive session. Please. Did not get that one out. Folks, we're gonna be upstairs in the planning office.
I just need one other person to.
Right there.
And I know we are missing two counselors, but we'll. Yeah, the counselor more counselor. Okay. You did come back from executive session, no action was taken during executive session. I'll now entertain a motion to exit executive session. Counselor. The no business that come before this council, I'll now entertain a motion to adjourn, Councilor Town, Councilor Gibbs, all in favor? Aye. And our turn. Thanks, folks.